this story? The White House really pushed that $500 million loan for solar company Solyndra, and now that company is broke. And the taxpayer, well, they're left holding the bill. Chris Chocola, president of the Club for Growth, is live with us from D.C. Chris, this Solyndra story becomes more salacious and really more frightening as each day goes on.
Charles, it does, and just going back to your earlier conversation, yeah, we should raise taxes so we can make more prudent investments like Solyndra with taxpayer money. The bottom line is that this was a bad deal from the beginning. People can say, in hindsight, it's clearly a bad deal, but when you looked at it from the beginning before they received the government loan, I think a first-year analyst in a private equity firm would recommend that this is a bad deal. They had a fundamental cost problem. There was overcapacity being built throughout the world, and they were going to triple their capacity at the same time. So this was a bad investment from the beginning. One thing I agree with Vice President Biden. He said that Solyndra is a great example of what the Recovery Act was all about, and that is
right.
When government picks winners and losers, they almost always pick losers.
Chris, though, what about the other aspect of this story, that not only was it a bad investment, but it was a bad investment made to maybe help people who are very close to the White House?
Well, the problem here is I don't know if there was corruption, but it certainly creates the appearance of impropriety. It's kind of like the whole earmark discussion, that even if there was just incompetence, we're asking questions. FBI is investigating. There's congressional hearings. It's costing the taxpayers more to figure out whether this was innocent or not innocent. And, there's also some self-dealing here potentially. The management team looked at the federal loan as a halo effect for an IPO that they had planned. They did file for an IPO after they received the loan. They've ultimately pulled that. But, it just creates a whole bunch of bad dealing here. And I think that it's, again, an example of the government
right.
can't really tell the private sector what it ought to like or what it ought to do, because it's like the law of gravity.
Chris,
it's going to work out at the end.
Chris, let me jump in here because we're running out of time, and I got to get a quick reaction from you to the notion that Timothy Geithner is saying that this jobs bill is a bargain, even if it costs $200,000 per job.
Well, it doesn't take a lot of analysis to try to determine whether that makes sense or not. We can look at the Recovery Act. When you look at previous stimulus spending, the question I always ask is, when has Keynesian-style stimulus spending ever created economic growth and jobs? And the answer is never. And so the only answer you get from people that defend it is because we've never spent enough. And I'm afraid that Timothy Geithner and our president wanted to test that theory, and it's a theory that's disprovable, and we're all going to lose in the process.
All right, Chris, I got to tell you, it feels like the theory has been tried to the tune of hundreds of billions, maybe trillions of dollars, and once again, it's fallen flat. Appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
Let's go back.